Hey you, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm Jenny Prochko from Miles and Indigo, and I make videos about journaling, the moon, spirituality, mental health and awareness, and my story. Today I want to share with you the long-awaited DIY moon stamps. These are the stamps that I've actually been using in my bullet journal spreads, in my plan with me's, and in my lunar check-ins. So if you want to know how to make your very own moon phase stamps, keep watching. You're going to need a pencil or a pen, nail cuticle cutter, or a stamp carving tool, an X-Acto knife, and an art spatula, and some scissors. You'll also need a bunch of erasers that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and various sizes of wood blocks that you can use for the handles on your stamps, plus some super glue of your choice and some toothpicks. First, trace your stamps on your paper. And then draw in your designs. Make sure that you color in with your pencil on your design, that way it transfers onto the eraser when you use the art spatula to rub the pencil image onto your eraser, like this. And here's a close-up of what carving looks like on the bigger stamps with the nail cuticle carver. And again, if you have a carver, you can go ahead and use that instead. You might need to get some pliers and clamp down the nail cuticle cutter so it has a little more of a V and it's easier to use as a carving tool. You can also draw your designs directly onto the erasers. I'm using an erasable pen, that way I can remove my design if I need to. And then use the X-Acto knife to chunk off larger parts of your eraser. Then go back in with your carving tool and clean up the edges and make it rounder or more detailed, depending on what you're looking for. The first stamp is the new moon. This one is a quarter moon stamp, and then my next one is going to be the full moon. For the quarter moon and the full moon stamp, I cut the outsides first and then went in with an X-Acto knife and carved out a little bit of the surface area, and then went back in with the carving tool for the finer details when I was carving out the stamp portion. For the full moon stamp, I carved out the middle first, and make sure that you use your X-Acto knife at an angle, at a very, very shallow angle. That way you are only shaving off a little bit. And then if you go outside the lines, it's no big deal because you can extend your design out further and cut off less of the block of the eraser. And then just go in with the carving tool and clean up the lines a bit.
And this is the Waning Moon. Going with your X-Acto knife first to cut out a bigger surface area, and then go in and clean it up with your little carving tool and chunk off the outside edges of the eraser at the end, and then clean up the outsides with your little carving tool. And this is the Crescent Moon, and just do the same that you did before. I found that the little erasers were a lot easier to carve instead of the really big one that you saw at the beginning, and you can find all of these tools at the dollar store. And then get your wood pieces and get ready to glue on the handles. Make sure that you heat up your blade. It's a lot easier to get the knife to go through the rubber if it's hot. If it's not, it tends to snag. And when you're done using the X-Acto knife, you can just break off the blades. First, you're going to want to heat up your blade on the X-Acto knife with a candle, and then just cut off a little bit of your stamp. But first, before you glue it on, you're going to want to stamp your handle with the rubber piece. And then use a toothpick to get a teeny tiny little bit of glue and put the rubber eraser that is now your stamp onto the handle. And then just keep repeating. Go ahead and slice them all down with your X-Acto knife to the same height, and stamp them on the blocks, and then glue them onto the opposite side of the block. I made small, medium, and large moon phase designs. The bigger ones are a little bigger than a quarter. These medium ones are about the size of a dime, and then the really small ones are the size of a pencil eraser. And then I've also got a coffee cup with a little heart in it and a tree. And here's what the stamps look like.
You can find me over on Instagram at alsindigo, that's where I am most, and over on my website, alsindigo.com, where I share weekly spirituality tips, journaling prompts and writing prompts, little tidbits about the moon and how to move through the lunar phases with your goal setting, spirituality, mental health and awareness, and my story. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend your time here with me today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!